And I was like, what the hell? So I turn only to realize there's no one behind me. And I was just like, okay, that's freaky. So I just take my backpack off and continue watching the video. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I hope you stay because it's super freaking fun here. At least I think so. So today we're back with another video of the 31-day Ghosts Glam series where we do our makeup and I share a creepy, weird, horror, paranormal, scary story with you that I've experienced somewhere along my life, somewhere along the way in my life. So today I am going to be sharing with you my experience with going to the Bagans Haunted Museum here in Vegas. I've gone 3 times in the past 3 years and we're just gonna talk about it. The good, the bad, the weird, and the freaky. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. Before we dive into it, if you like this kind of content, or if you're into makeup, lifestyle vlogs, and of course bringing awareness to the limb difference community, make sure to subscribe. My goal is to reach 100 subscribers by the end of October, and we're pretty close. I think we're about 5 people away, so that's super exciting. With that said, let's just dive into it. Today I'm doing a pretty simple makeup look because I have somewhere to be that requires me to not wear a lot of makeup, so we'll just dive into it. As I grab for like the brightest palette that I own. Anyways, I guess my first experience with the Haunted Museum I shared with you guys a couple of days ago, where I went and during Halloween night. If you want to check that video out, the card will be right there or right here, wherever it goes. And you can watch that, but we're not counting that as one of the experiences because it really, even though it kind of was, it really was not. So we're actually going to start with the first time that I actually went to the Haunted Museum. So before moving to Vegas, like I had heard of Bagans, I had heard of the Haunted Museum, but it wasn't like a massive like thing for me. I really thought that like the Haunted Museum was just like a touristy trap kind of thing, you know, like any other museum, any other haunted house. Don't get me wrong, I love museums, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't think much of it. And so it was never like on my bucket list of things to do ever. But when I moved, my friend would tell me all the stuff about the Haunted Museum. Like she would tell me how people would get like possessed in there, and how when people would leave the Haunted Museum after the tour, they would get into like some pretty bad car crashes or like just be quote unquote cursed. And I was just like, I don't think that's true. Like I really don't believe that to be true, but whatever. So I was just like, we should go. And she was like, yeah, we should go. But we kept going back and forth on when and if we should go and all this stuff. But whatever, we ended up finalizing a day to go. And at this point, we're pretty freaking spiritual. And so we're like, you know what? Like, we'll meet at your house. Me, like, meeting at her house. We'll do a little protection spell energy with some crystals and some like incense and just like sage and like all the stuff. And then we'll just protect our energy, set the intention, blah, 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 whatever. So I end up going to her place before we go to the museum. And we are setting the intention. And instantly, as we're like saging and we're setting the intention, she starts feeling a little bit off. And I remember looking at her and there's like a female energy with us. And I was like, yo, do you feel that? And she's like, yeah, like something feels weird. was just really interesting because instantly I got the feeling of like it is someone she knows. And I remember being like, okay, so this is kind of like the energy I'm feeling. Does this seem familiar to you, or like, can you relate to this? And she is like, yeah, like this, now whatever. Point is, we figure out that it was one of her relatives, like past relatives. I believe it was a grandma, like a great grandma, I believe. I don't remember exactly, but it was like a senora. So we're like, okay, this energy's being so funny. Like, she was making me laugh so hard. And I couldn't even tell you what it was, but she was just being funny. And so we're like, okay, whatever. We're driving to the Haunted Museum. And this first time when we went, we got like GA tickets. Like, we were not asking to go into the VIP tour, or as they call it, the RIP tour, anything. So we're going the whole time. We're like protecting our energy. We're just setting the intention. And it's the whole thing. Like, it's a vibe. We get there. We sign in. When you get there, they make you sign like the waiver. Well, they don't make you, but they have you sign a waiver. And then you go wait in line. And as you're waiting in line, like, there are some videos playing and they're just telling you about different experiences, what you expect, blah, 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 all this stuff. And so we finally start to make our way into the museum after a while. And at first there's a little lobby area where you just kind of hang out. There's some like oddities there. There's some dolls, there's some pictures, some rules. And this is the only place where you can use your phone, right? Like, that is the only place. After you walk into the actual experience, like, there's no phone usage. They encourage you to turn the phone off. And yeah, and so we go in there and we're just like looking around, whatever. Once the tour actually starts, it's pretty chill. Like, nothing is happening instantly. We're just going through the rooms. First room, it's like this doll carnival-ish kind of vibe. And so we're looking around. The dolls are looking kind of weird, but we're just like, whatever. Like, the whole catch of this is to freak you out. And like I said, my friend at this point, she had never been. And she was the one that told me, like, when you leave this place, like, people get cursed and stuff. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the house, even though they're pretty cool. There's some pretty incredible rooms in there. But at the end, like, not at the end, but towards, like, I think it's, I want to say it's like the fourth room you go into, which is a doctor's office, Dr. Death, because he would help people commit. You know, like, he would assist them in doing this. So his trial was really a complicated one because I was like, okay, it was the people's choice, but also like, is he technically a murderer? Like, you know, that kind of vibe. So we go into his office and they have his desk and they have a couple other things that belong to this doctor. And so we're in there. And my friend, she's in front of me. And I'm kind of against the wall, kind of. Like, the wall is the only thing behind me. And I have a little backpack on. And as we're standing there, she actually, before she was in front of me, she was besides me, but she has a thing where, like, her back gets really uncomfortable around weird energy. So she asked me, like, yo, can I go, like, in front of you? My back just feels weird. And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's why she moved in front of me. And so I'm standing there and I feel something like tugging on my backpack. And I was just like, what the fuck? So I thought it was another guest. So I kind of just like move a little bit just to give them space. I don't know. You know, when you're like in a crowded room and like you just, yeah. Anyways, I kind of move And I'm just like there, and it stopped for a bit. And then again, I feel someone tugging on my backpack. And I was like, what the hell? So I turn only to realize there's no one behind me. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's freaky. So I just take my backpack off and continue watching the video. And so I'm looking at the video, and this time instead of pulling my backpack, I feel a tap. So at this point, I'm like, absolutely not. So I like lean against the wall, and that like makes it stop. So I was like, okay, that was a little bit weird. I told my friend, and she's like, weird. So then fast forward, there's a part to go into the basement. You need the RIP ticket because it's the most haunted room ever, right? And so we stay up with the rest of the GA, and the RP goes down to the basement. So we're just kind of like looking at the next room. And in this room, they have like this cauldron that belonged to this witch lady or something that would murder people. And so I was like, no, it belonged to his mom, and then the man took over it, and he would burn women in there. Yeah, just weird. I don't know. And this room stinks. Like, it smells so bad. Like, it smells like rotten. It's disgusting. But we're in there, and we're like feeling some weird vibes and some weird energies, and just like overall weird. I wanted to get out of that room. I kept feeling like taps or like hair pulls, and I was just like, whatever. At this point, my friend's just like not really feeling much. She's just like there kind of thing, but she's a little bit uncomfortable. We go through the tour. There's some other stuff that's really weird and creepy, but overall that experience was a little bit mild, you know. It wasn't like a lot of things happen, but just enough things to be like, that's interesting. And then we get to the infamous Peggy doll, and if you don't know, this is one of the dolls that they have like a like different ghost hunting equipment in there, so you could actually hear if the doll communicates with you or not. And you're supposed to say like, hi Peggy and bye Peggy as you're entering and exiting the room, just out of respect for the doll. And so I remember we walk in and we're like, hi Peggy, and you're not supposed to look her in the eye. So I just kind of like glanced, but not look her in the eyes. I just like wanted to see her without looking her in the eyes, right? So it's just like, hi Peggy, and then through the little thing, it said hi. And like, I don't know, it could be time. I really don't know, because at the end of the day, like, it was a great museum, but it is ran by a TV host. Therefore, like, is there gimmicks? Is there, you know what I mean? So, whatever, the doll said hi to me. It was super cute. And then we left. And we're like saging ourselves because the energy felt weird. And she was like, should we go to the church? And I was like, the one from Halloween night, absolutely not. So we just ended up going home, and that was that. But then I really, really enjoyed it that day. I thought it was really nice, and there was a lot of things, and it was freaky. It did its purpose. So I told my boyfriend when I got back home, I was like, yo, we gotta do this someday, like, you and I. He was like, yeah, okay, like, sure, we should. So we ended up going, and we do the RIP tour. And this was the second time I had been in there, his first time. And again, like, we go through the whole process, but this time we have the basement that we get to go into. And this time I'm not feeling any, like, taps or anything. Like, I'm just like, I know what to expect, whatever. So this time we go in, and we go to the basement. So then the whole catch of like this basement is they have this mirror that belonged to Bela Lugosi, which Dracula, we love him. But you're not supposed to look into it what do? I look straight into it because, again, as I said in plenty of videos, I'm a skeptical believer, which means I believe in this stuff, but also we're gonna try and debunk it before saying something's paranormal. So I was like looking at the mirror and my boyfriend's behind me. He likes like scary things like that, but also like not too much. Like I definitely am the one that loves this kind of thing. So he's behind me and he's kind of like, go, go, go. Like he does not want to stop for shit. They tell you not to stop and like that stuff. They're just like, go and like come back. Which when someone tries to rush me in that sense, I'm just like, but why? Like what's the gimmick that you're trying people not to see? So we go there and he's just like pushing me. So I really didn't get to sit there or witness it that much, especially that first time. The second time I went with him, which would have been my third time, it's different, but we're talking about the second time here. We kind of rushed through the basement. I did look into the mirror, but like kind of rushed, went upstairs, whatever. The energy in the basement is kind of freaky, but again, it's not crazy. Like it's definitely freakier than the other ones, but it's kind of too where it's like, is it just because of the environment? Is it because of like the vibes they've created down here? Because it is like creepy. It's dark. There's like the candles and like I don't know, like it's the ambiance, you know. So you could definitely argue like there's not weird energies, it's just the ambience they've created. And so whatever, we go back up and then again in that doctor's office, the energy's kind of feeling a little bit weird, but not too much, like it was just whatever. So we go through the museum and we're just like, that was cool, nothing major happened. That is until we get into the car. So we get into the car and we pull our phones out. We both have our phones off at this point, right? But when I turn my phone, it's off. When he grabs his phone and turns it over, it is on. Not only is it on, but his cover, like his wallpaper on his phone, is completely messed up. Well, by messed up, I mean it was his cover photo. It's the one that he had put. It's a picture of me, but the wallpaper was zoomed in to a corner of that picture. And we were both majorly confused because, like, okay, I get it, like, maybe the phone turned on while I was in the pocket. There's, like, more explanations for the phone to be on. But then it's like, okay, if it was just the phone being on, that would have been fine. It could have been explained. But the wallpaper being zoomed in had no explanation, because to set a wallpaper, you literally had to go into your settings or into your pictures and set it as a wallpaper, zoom it in wherever. So that really had no explanation that I can logically think of. If you're a tech person out there and like know what that could have been or how that could have happened, let me know, because we're still kind of like flabbergasted. Is that a word? It is a word. About what happened to that phone, and why it was zoomed in like that. Like, I literally cannot think of an explanation. So that was a little weird. We kind of saged, because I brought the sage with me, and we moved on. Nothing happened. We did not get into a crash. We did not do, like, nothing like that happened. But the wallpaper thing still kind of like blows my mind till this day, because it makes no sense as to why it would have been messed up. And then we go a second time together, third time for me. And this is the reason why I tell people not to go into the haunted museum anymore. And it has nothing to do with like paranormal or creepy stuff, because this third time nothing happened. Again, all these times, like, the doll has said hi to me, but again, it could be like rigged in there, I don't know. Um, and this time I literally stared into the mirror, and I am still here and very much alive. But yeah, like nothing like that happened. But the reason that I am not a super huge fan of it anymore is because this third time that we ended up going, there was a lot more closed off things. There's like the Love Ranch, Bunny Ranch, whatever it's called, room where they have the bed of the guy that owned it, and it's the same bed that Lamar OD'd on, kind of thing. And like the last time we went, they had it closed off. Like when before you could get pretty close to it, now you can't. And most of the things now, like you still have a tour guide, but that last time we went, most of the things were on screen. Like the story you were getting was from a video versus what the first two times that I went, you were getting the story from the tour guides, which made it so much more unique, and like they could add their own little personal stories and tales with it. Now, like I said, this third time that we went, they kind of just waited outside the rooms and really didn't do much talking. So that was kind of a disappointment, because I think the charm to the first two times that I went was really getting to know your tour guides at that level of like hearing their stories, hearing their perspectives, hearing different fun facts, or just facts that they had about certain rooms, certain items, certain things. So I just felt like it was a lot more touristy, trappy this final time that I went. I don't know if they've changed it. It's been about a year since I last went. And that time nothing weird happened, nothing strange happened. The third time we did skip out on the funhouse part of it just because it's a very, very, very loud. Yeah, we didn't want to do it. But with that said, if it's something that you've been wanting to do, I would say go for it, but just be aware last time I went, it was very much more videos more than anything. Obviously, you still go through the rooms, but like the information is being told through videos, and I didn't love that. I hope that they went back to the tour guides presenting the rooms, and like the tour guides being in charge of sharing the stories versus just watching it through a video. Do I think the people that go in there get cursed? I don't know. Like, I don't think so. Even like in the room that they have the exorcism chair, couple weird things have happened there. Hearing someone calling me, to like tapping to the little door thing opening, just like weird things like that happen in that space. But I feel like when you have that many things with activities, whether true or not, but just creating the environment of like there is energy here, there's spirit here, it automatically calls it in, calls it forward. Therefore creating energy and creating spirit. At least that is my belief, that is my experience. I do think it's more than anything a touristy kind of trap now, and I hope that it just goes back to its OG kind of vibe, where like I said, the guides are sharing their personal stories, and it's just a lot more personable. Again, I don't think you're gonna get cursed if you go, but like just with everything else, be your own judge of that. Take precaution. Like, I always protect my energy anytime I go into it, whether I believe I'm gonna get cursed or not. That's regardless. Like, that doesn't matter. I always sage myself before I set the intention. I create the bubble around me, and then I go in for fun. But yeah, I think if you're in Vegas, it's worth checking out. Just do not go in with the expectation that the dolls are going to talk to you, or you're going to experience something weird or creepy. Another thing also to state is that there is a part where you have to like climb, or not climb, but like crawl through like a little crawl hole kind of thing in the wall if you are part of the RIP tour. And like I remember the first time I went being like, does anything pop out? Because I like to know. And the tour guide at the time, this was the second time I went, she's like, oh no, our actors are not in today. So when she said that, I was like, oh, so do they actually have actors? Like, is that thing? But then like I went I went the third time with the RIP, and I went through the crawl hole and nothing popped out. And that first time that I went, nothing popped out either. So I don't know if she was just saying that like to say that. I don't know, maybe they do have like scare actors, which would again add to that touristy trap kind of vibe, because they do sell it, market it as haunted, as like everything's 100% real. So just keep that in mind. The merch is cute, the place is cute. Do not expect to see Seth there because he probably will not be there. Sometimes he is, I've heard, but for the most part he really is not. And yeah, go in, have fun, and like I said, don't expect too much from the creepy shit in there. But it's freaky. I mean, it's fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode of 31 Days of Ghosts Glam. I know it was a little bit different. I finished my makeup like 5 minutes ago. Not really, but it's a little different than the other stories because it's more like a review kind of thing. You know, I might just do the Haunted Museum again this year to try it out and see if it's made any difference. I will see you tomorrow for another episode. Until then, make sure to subscribe. Help me reach 100 subscribers. And yeah, stay haunted. No, let's not stay haunted. Stay safe. Alright, I love you guys. Bye.